What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Sports and Nonsense. We're back after a little delay, and look who's back. He's after a month gone. We finally got him back. His computer is not great, so you can kind of see he's a little choppy here and there, but we'll see what happens if we can get him. It's a little bit better, but at times you're kind of like. So
yeah, hopefully the audio works. That's all I care.
The audio sounds great, so you're fine with the audio. The last time Rich did a podcast was like 3 weeks before the regular season started. I'm pretty sure we were like week 2 of the preseason. Don't do that. You look like you're coming out of the woodwork. And then the last time that I did one with Tyler, who was co-hosting for Rich while he was getting his new job situated, was the week before the regular season. So we have not covered any of the regular season since we've since the season started. So we have a lot to discuss. And how do you feel about the first two and a third week of the season, since we're recording after the Thursday night game?
Well,
what has been your overall thoughts of the first 2 weeks of the season? Not just with the Giants, who we'll get to that later, but
the Raiders are 2-0.
And we'll get to the 2-0 teams in a minute, but so like what's been your overall? Is that your overall surprise? Is that the Raiders are 2-0?
Yeah, that definitely surprised and
they actually beat 2 decent teams.
Yeah, I mean they I don't know if they're for real, but they're looking good. Carolina is surprising me. Sam Darnold is playing like the quarterback the Jets drafted him to be. And the quarterback that they drafted to replace him is playing like Sam Darnold did as a Jet. So all things are as they should be on the green side of New York, and all things are as they have been on the blue side of New York. And it's still so early that I try not to take too much weight. But some teams look really good, and some of them look really bad. So we're kind of just rolling with it.
All right, so there's 7 teams that are currently undefeated through the first 2 weeks of the season. There is Las Vegas Raiders, Denver Broncos, Carolina Panthers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, San Francisco 49ers, Los Angeles Rams, and the Arizona Cardinals. Who is the fraud among the 2-0 starts?
Say it again. You broke up.
Sorry. So the Raiders, the Broncos, the Panthers, the Bucks, the Niners, the Rams, and the Cardinals are all 2-0 to start the season.
Who's the fraud?
Or 3-0 for Carolina.
Who's the fraud?
And who's the fraud for the first 2 weeks of the season?
The Broncos.
I think so too.
The Broncos beat the Giants.
They beat the Giants and they beat the Jags. So, and then they got the Jets this week. So like,
they don't go 3-0.
They're good. More than likely, it will be 3-0 by the end of the week. But they got an easy schedule to start the season.
Yep.
And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You've got also 7 teams that are 0-2. The New York Jets, Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, New York Giants, Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings, Atlanta Falcons, and that's it. Who still has a chance at the playoffs? Because as we know, an 0-2 team rarely will make the playoffs. But out of those,
repeat them all again.
Jets,
not having my internet is killing me. Not having the ability to use Google while I'm doing this.
Jets, Colts, Jags, Giants, Lions, Vikings, Falcons.
Who still has a chance? To make the playoffs.
Yeah. To have a shot at the playoffs.
They have yet to win a game.
Well, we all know 2-0 teams or 0-2 teams have a rough go.
Out of all of those guys, I mean, I got to think the Colts, like they're still good. Now I am biased, but as a Giants fan, I do know more about the Giants than most other teams. But like, if their defense can get it together and the offensive line holds together like it has been, they have a chance. But I, I think it's fading quick. So I think out of all those teams, you got the Colts. That's really,
I think the Vikings might have a shot.
Maybe,
but they're depending on how Aaron Rodgers plays the rest of the way. The first week of the season, he sucked, and then they kind of pulled it together for the.
Oh my God! I found that so funny, man. The man held the organization hostage just to lose by 30 points. Like it was
31-3.
That was just one of the most beautiful statements of irony that I've ever been able to enjoy. And my feelings on Aaron Rodgers. The guy's a diva. Like I could not have been more happy that they lost that game.
Yeah, I mean the Vikings. I mean the Vikings and the Lions are only a game back in that division.
Because the Vikings, you traded for Jared Goff and you suck.
Yeah,
like.
Yep, and Green Bay holds the tiebreaker right now against the Bears, which they're both 1-1. But I mean, it's only
Justin Fields is starting now, so
yeah, we'll see. I mean, he doesn't.
I really need them to suck because we have their first round picks. I really need them to just
He doesn't look He doesn't look great. So like, I mean, the first
it doesn't look as good as it did in the preseason, which you and I talked about that none of them will look as good in the regular season.
So who out of the five? I mean, technically it's four, but I include Mac Jones because he was the top half of the draft pick. Who out of the five looks the best right now? You got
Lawrence
Wilson, Fields, the one in San Francisco, Lance, and Jones.
Looks the best. I think it's Fields and Jones. You can kind of flip a coin. I think Jones looks good. Considering he's and I'm quoting you here, an Alabama quarterback. So, I think it's a toss up between Fields and Jones. I think Fields is the best quarterback overall, like athletic quarterback in that draft. I still think Lawrence is the best quarterback, but I think right now Justin Fields and Mac Jones are the two best playing right now for sure.
Jones definitely. Trevor Lawrence is too, but Trevor Lawrence has no.
Trevor Lawrence has a handicap where he's on that team.
Yeah, he's got a crap O-line and he's got a crap offensive coordinator and a coach who hasn't coached.
Probably going to coach USC next season. So
yeah, so we'll see what happens. I mean, they played Denver last week, and the way Denver played against the Giants, Denver's probably going to win that game, but they had a chance to actually win that game against Denver. I think it was at home too, so it's even worse. And then they played Houston the first week of the season. They got trounced by Tyrod Taylor and the Houston Texans.
Hey,
so
don't knock Tyrod.
But now Tyrod is out, and I don't know his name. I keep wanting to think Kellen Mond, but it's not Kellen Mond, the guy that the rookie that is starting for Houston now. You have no internet, so like
I have the internet. I just can't. I can't do Zoom and something else anymore.
Davis Mills. Mills.
This computer sucks, man. I might go to Best Buy tomorrow and see if I can't get a $200 one for like a ThinkPad or something.
Yeah, Davis Mills is now the new starter since Tyrod Taylor's out with injury. So, I mean, he didn't look great last night, but Carolina also was playing with a hand tied behind their back because Christian McCaffrey got injured in the first quarter. So, and he's gonna be out for like 3-4 weeks.
Rip fantasy owners, man.
Yep. So, and that's the other thing that we didn't really talk about is fantasy. My teams are I have 3 of them. One of them I don't really care about because it's free. It's a free to play league. 2 of them I do care about. Both of those leagues I'm in. I'm 1-1, and I'm pretty sure I'm in 3rd place in both of them because I've scored a lot of points last week.
Cordell Patterson?
No.
Oh,
in one league I had not Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones. Who went off for like 4 touchdowns last week. And then the other league I have I did something that's pretty unorthodox for a fantasy owner is I started 2 tight ends. So I started a
when you
tight
have
end.
those two tight ends, you might as well.
I started a tight end, and I started a tight end in my flex. So I have, because you're not going to bench George Kittle. I mean, I might this week because based on what George Kittle's done production wise, has not been great.
Yeah, but that's the one time, you know, he's gonna put up a 30 burger as soon as his ass hits your bench.
And he's playing Green Bay this week, who has let's see. Green Bay's given up the third most fantasy points to tight ends this season, and that's mainly because Hawkinson was getting thrown to pretty much every single play last Monday night.
As soon as you guys play the Giants, if the Niners play the Giants, then that would be a great time to start your tight end. Giants can't cover a tight end if you paid them to.
They do not play the Giants.
Never mind.
But I also have Rob Gronkowski, who scored 2 touchdowns on my bench in 2 of my leagues last week. And I was like, 29 points on the bench is not fun. So I ended up starting him in the flex, and he got me like 19 points. So another 2 touchdown game. And then my other league, I have Travis Kelce, and you're not starting Travis Kelce. Like I'll bench Kittle if he's not performing, or I'll trade him, but I'm not benching.
Oh, Travis Kelce will come to your house and shoot you if you bench him. You know,
yeah. So, but I've got a good team. One league I'm short on running. Actually, in both leagues, I'm kind of like down on running backs.
You're committing my cardinal sin of fantasy football. You're
trading away wide receivers for running backs.
You're trading way too early in the season.
No, I need a running back because my running backs in the league that I'm really hurting. I've got Austin Eckler and James White as my 2 starters. James White was really good in the passing game in PPR, which is this format. But I mean,
I hate PPR.
You know,
hey, I learned this the other day, and I don't think you're going to guess the answer. But I'm going to ask you anyway.
Sure.
It's a Giants trivia question,
okay,
but you might get it. Who has the single game reception record for the New York Giants?
Single game reception record?
Yep.
I'm going to say it's not a wide receiver or a tight end.
Pretty good guess.
Because this is, a trick question, so to say.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say it's a running back, and I'm going to go with Tiki Barber.
No. So Saquon Barkley.
Oh, well.
So there's your PPR BS league there. 14 catches.
14? That's kind of crazy.
No, I'm sure 13 of them were behind the line of scrimmage, but we'll talk about that later.
So how are the Giants doing?
Not well. Look at me using teacher language. Not well. They are not doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Gettleman is currently getting fucking Red Sox are down 3. Dave Gettleman is currently getting comfortable in his rocket because if they continue this way, he's going to be launched out of the building faster than Josh Brown did when he beat his wife. So it's been an absolute disaster.
The Giants are 0-2. They're the only 0-2 team in the NFC East. Every other team is at least 1-1. To be fair,
that second loss came against the football team. So
so they have the least amount of points for that division, and they do have the most points against.
Yep.
So
the defense going into the season was like a highly touted, like, okay, this would be a good, solid defense. And I'm sorry, but when you put up 29 points a game, and it went 29 points in an NFL game, you should win that game. And they can't close it out. So they're not deserving to win the games that they're losing anyway. It's not like they're not being cheated by anybody, any refs or any bad calls. It's just they don't deserve to win the games. They're losing anyway. So they're pretty effing bad right now. And I'm very disappointed because I expected better things from the defense. And Danny Jones is playing very well.
Very bad. He's playing
well. He was ranked the second best quarterback in the league by PFF last week for week 2, just behind Tom Brady. He had a great game. He played really well. And the reason they lost week 2 is definitely not Daniel Jones's fault. The reason they lost week 1, he certainly contributed, but week 2, he did everything but clean everybody's, jock straps. He carried that team on week 2. So They have Atlanta on Sunday. Eli Manning's retirement ceremony. They're gonna retire his number, and they're
Oh,
gonna,
he already
and
retired.
they're gonna put him in the Ring of Honor. Because obviously the last season was a wash. In terms of like COVID and all that. So if they go to MetLife on Sunday and they lose that game for that moment and they go 0-3, I think there's going to be some DEFCON 1 in the building, as there should be. 0-3, 0-2 every year the last 5 or 6 years. So it's Giants fans are getting pretty fucking tired. And if I hear one more Giants fan say, "Well, 2007 they won the Super Bowl and they started 0-2," shut up. It's not happening this year.
We already talked about this. How many times has that happened? Like
I think that how many times the 0-2 team won the Super Bowl? Yeah. I think they might be it. I think know. That's it. I think that's it. I would Google it, but I can't. So
yeah,
they're not good. And I had them on our TikTok as a team that could surprise people and make the playoffs. And because of the defense, and Saquon Barkley was coming back, and they had a pretty good free agency talent pool, and it's just like, what's going on over there? As my dad used to always say, what are we doing? What are we doing out here? So they're pretty bad, to say the least. But it could be worse. We could be Jets fans, because it's as bad as the Giants are, they're still not as bad as the Jets. So that's good.
It's actually been 3 times.
Really?
Yep. The 1993 Dallas Cowboys, which started off 0-2, they won Super Bowl 28.
Of course, the Cowboys.
The 2001 New England Patriots.
Of course,
went off 0-2.
Why wouldn't it be them?
I don't know if they went off 0-2, because it says, it doesn't say 0-2, does it? Oh yeah, team overcame 0-2 starts. It doesn't say it, but it does say they started 5-5. And then the 2007 New York Giants. Despite going 3-5 in games at the Meadowlands. So
they were awful at home that year. I remember that year because they played Dallas and Green Bay in the first 2 weeks, and I was like, oh my God. They got creamed. And then they were like, oh, we should start winning some games. And and they started winning. I think they went 11-5 that year, or 10-6 that year.
And then they went 10-6. So they went 7-1 on the road.
Yeah.
They went 7-1 on the road and 3-5.
Road Warriors that game. Yeah. MetLife, it's hard to play in MetLife, man. The fans are ruthless, man.
I think they weren't they the wild card team? So weren't they on the road all throughout the playoffs?
Yeah.
So they were definitely
their last.
They played at the Meadowlands during the playoffs. They probably would have lost.
Their last home game that season was when they lost to the Patriots at home,
38-35.
Yeah, when they lost, and then they won every game after that.
Oh, it wasn't the final regular season game.
So
it was week 16. No, it was week 16.
That was the final regular season game.
I promise you. There's 17 weeks in the.
I promise you, it was the last season game. I promise you, I was at that game. I promise you.
It says week 16 right here. It's
an error. There's no game after that wasn't the playoffs. I'm telling you, I was at that game. That was the last game of the regular season, because the Giants then went into, I think, Atlanta and started their playoff. No.
Oh, yeah, it is a typo. It says week 17, but it's a typo. It says week 16. Maybe they're not including the bye week.
Maybe. I don't know. But
and then they went to at Tampa, at Dallas, at Green Bay.
Yeah, I thought it was Atlanta was in 2012 then.
Yeah.
Tampa, and then Dallas, Green Bay, and Green Bay was an overtime game. And then they went to the Super Bowl.
It was overtime.
I remember. I don't have as many as y'all, so I have less to remember, but I remember
only 2
exactly.
Less.
I was in Florida.
Well, you weren't. You didn't. You weren't alive for the other ones.
No, you're right. I've only seen 2, but I remember I was in Florida. We were at a family vacation to Disney, and we had rented a condo, and my mom and I were watching the game in Florida of the Green Bay Giants game, and my grandmother was with us, and she was just being spiteful, and she was rooting for Green Bay because she just wanted to be different. And my mom was getting so fucking pissed at her. That was the game where I thought Tom Coughlin's face was going to fall off because it was so cold. Like, I think there's a picture of Tom Coughlin. It looks like the nerves in his face all died by 10 p.m. because it was stupid cold that game.
Yeah.
And and then they won the Super Bowl, and then there was 3 years of nonsense, and then they won a Super Bowl, and then it's been garbage ever since. I'm not sure who sold.
4 years after they won another Super Bowl.
What?
2007 to 2011.
Yeah, whichever, 3 to 4 years.
4 years.
It was a few garbage years, and then in the fourth year they decided to win some more games, and then it's been garbage ever since. So here we are. I don't know who sold the Super Bowl.
They went to the playoffs once.
I don't count that year. That was
I saw a stat the other day that said the Giants have the worst record in the NFL since the boat incident.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the actual win-loss percentage, and it was like the Giants have won, I think when I saw it, it was like a few years since, and I think it was like the Giants have won 10 games since this picture was taken, and it was like 2 or 3 years since the boat picture, and I'm like, you got on that goddamn boat.
And now, in the last 2 or 3 years, they've only won the maximum 4 games or something?
No, they've won more than that. They won 6 last year, but like, so here's the thing about the Giants that irritates the shit out of me, right? So when Saquon Barkley was drafted, they're the second overall pick, as you know, because I was in your store watching that, right?
Yeah.
Since that pick, they have had a higher pick each season that they've drafted, but it's never a good enough. I don't know what's going on. I am totally on board if they miss the playoffs again to clean house everybody but the head coach and and his coordinator. I mean, scouting department, general manager, everybody.
It's funny. It's the same guy who's updating it like every year.
But the win percentage is the boat?
blue check mark Darren Rovell. He's updated it every year since the last 3 years.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's got this year's.
Well, it's 2 losses, so you could just go ahead and add the math.
No, like not including this year, but because the last one that I saw was from November of 2020. Let's see. Scrolling through his Twitter. When was the start of the season?
2 weeks
what
ago.
Day was that?
The Thursday? Or
God, he posts a lot.
Hang on, bear with me. I just opened up another app while I was on the Zoom here. So
I got it.
The universe 9th. Might implode over here.
The 9th was the first day of the season. So let's see.
I get a little pop-up that says like try closing some apps to improve your quality. I'm like, I have Zoom. That's the only app I have open.
Okay, so I gotta find out. Let's see, 2020 Giants schedule. I spelled schedule wrong, but it's gonna pull it up. Okay, cool. No, I do not want 2021. I want 2020 Giants schedule. All right, so this was posted on November 3rd. Oh. And by November 3rd, they were
season was over at that point.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They were 1-7 by November 3rd.
And then they won.
And they finished
4
in a row.
10, so
and they lost 3, and then they won another one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5-3. So they went 5-3 after November 3rd. So that means So that means that the Giants, what did I say, 5-3?
5-3 after.
So the Giants, since the boat,
you got to count this year too. The 2 losses, it'd be 5 and
sure.
5.
So 5-5. So since the boat trip, the Giants are 18-49.
Yeah.
This is the worst win-loss.
And the best part, there's not a
single.
The best part is it not a single player who was on that boat trip still on the team.
Yeah, no. Like if you look at this picture, there's probably not a player on.
Not a single one is left on the team.
Yeah.
No, Richard Cruz is gone. Beckham is gone.
Yeah.
I think.
Was that one of the backs was on there?
It wasn't Barkley back then. So yeah,
no,
Jennings,
like one of the not the running back, the cornerback.
Janoris Jenkins, probably.
Janoris Jenkins, probably.
That dope, like guy was like NYPD, the New York pass defense, and you guys couldn't stop Aaron Rodgers for 15 minutes, So yeah, it's been a long. If you're a Giants fan and you're listening, the couch is quite warm. The couch in the basement, it's been warm for a few years. So
and we'll see what happens. I want to see what happens over the next 3 weeks. But I mean, the Patriots might be on that couch here pretty soon. They've got a tough game.
1-1.
They're 1-1, but they got a tough game against 2 NFC South opponents this week.
Yeah, but like I said, it's only week 2. I try not to take, unless you're 0-2. I try not to take too much salt to the first 2 weeks. 2-0, 1-1, a lot can change. Oh, like I said, if you're 0-2, invest in a mirror because you got to look in it.
So the next, I'll do the Giants in a minute, but for New England, the next games that they have, I expect them to go. For the next 5 games, I kind of expect them to go 2-3.
You're a very harsh critic too. Who are they playing?
New Orleans, Tampa Bay,
win,
Houston,
loss, win,
Dallas.
Where?
Home.
What month is it in?
October.
Loss. Not cold enough yet.
New York.
The Jets?
Yeah, Jets.
Wow, we better fucking win that game.
Yeah. So and that's at home.
What do I have? 3-2.
So if you said New Orleans win, then you have that at 3-2, which I said New Orleans.
Yeah, I
lost.
think Jameis Winston's a smokescreen right now. I think I said I'd revert back.
But if they change up their method to where they're more of like run, if they just pound the ball up the middle against New England, they'll win that game.
But you got to think, Bill Belichick's philosophy is he's going to remove their best player and say, I'm going to force. I can see
the Saints only have one player.
I can see Belichick saying, I'm going to make Jameis Winston beat me.
Yeah.
Which, frankly, I like those odds.
Yeah. No, it's possible.
It's
a 1:00 game on Sunday, September 26th. So
I like the odds. I would go with that game.
They're also playing outside, so you never know. It could be windy.
Drew Brees is gone. That dome curse is gone when he left.
No, it's not even that. I mean, Jameis Winston played in Tampa for a while, but it was more warm and it's not as windy. So, especially in September, yeah. But I mean, it's a tough back half of the schedule, if I'm being completely honest. Then after,
you got to beat Tampa. Can you just beat Tampa so I can say because if Tom Brady,
not going to beat Tampa,
if Tom Brady comes into New England and wins against New England, then ESPN is going to go bankrupt because that's all they're going to talk about so much that Brady's going to put a copyright in his name and they're going to owe him $1 billion.
I want everyone to notice what just happened, and it was something that hasn't happened in a very long time, and it's that I did not bring up Tom Brady in the conversation. I was not the first to mention his name. I was going to.
Yeah, I know you were.
But Rich brought it up first.
We're 2 weeks in, and there is a marker I can see from here. There was a marker with a tally mark on my fridge, and I am keeping track of how many times I have to listen to Tom Brady's fucking name, and that whiteboard is full already, and it is week 2.
They're I'm listening to Boston Sports Radio, and they are not concerned with the upcoming week's game. All they're talking about is Tom Brady versus New England, and they're going to be talking about it for the next 2 weeks.
Listen, we all know what's going to happen. He's going to come in there and he's going to throw for 8 touchdowns and 500 fucking yards, and he's going to rush for 6 touchdowns. And he's probably going to put up 45 points, and he's not going to want to get pulled from the game. Just pile it on. He's not even going to wear cleats. He's going to have some Roman gladiator sandals.
Wear bowling shoes.
Like he's going to have one left clown shoe, and his right shoe is going to be like a too small size Adidas sneaker. And ESPN their pants are gonna fly off their body at the speed of light the second he throws and I'm telling you what's gonna happen. He's gonna throw a pass to Rob Gronkowski, and all the power on the East Coast is gonna go off because the amount of energy that is going to come out of all those bullshit New England fans who are like, I cheer for Tom Brady anyway. No, F you, you're a fraud. You were never a Patriot fan anyway. That means you too, Andrew. So like, I'm so effing tired of hearing about it.
I'm rooting for my team.
You wore a Tom Brady.
I do have
jersey.
One. I don't have. I've never had a
logo on it with a Buccaneers logo on it.
I'll have my Patriots jersey on for this Sunday though.
I can never, ever wear another team's jersey. I will never do it. I don't care who the player is. Ever. And it drove me crazy with that Super Bowl. And people were like, oh, there's my boy Brady. Like, no, F you. Shut up. Like he's not with you anymore.
Last year, New England wasn't in the playoffs, so like I had to root for somebody. And why not root for the guy that's going to stick it to Bill Belichick?
No,
because I'm not a Bill Belichick guy.
That guy left you guys.
That guy got pushed out.
That guy
and that's something that we'll disagree on all the time, because that guy got pushed out. Because I don't know, when you have the best player in more or less the best player in the NFL and in the history of the sport, and maybe in all sports, you don't let that guy walk. You pay him what he wants to be paid. I don't care if it's not team philosophy, but you make that guy happy.
Belichick's always been the year too soon rather than a year too late. But there's one more player who went with him, and I like him I like him as a person, not just as a tight end. I like him. He is a good human being.
Yes.
I've met him. I've hung out with him. But
see, Gronk, I don't agree with.
That was and he's still playing. And he pulled that bullshit about my heart's not in it anymore. I'm in pain. He's been down there for 2 years
on the podium. He was in tears on that. I remember that interview. But no, I agree with you that what he did was very low, in the fact that he threatened to retire after the trade rumors came out when he was supposed to go to the Lions.
Yeah.
And so they pulled the trade. And then that end of the year, he says he's done. He's going to retire. And then he took a year off. And then Brady moved to Tampa after being pushed out of New England. And then Tom called him up and said, come play with me. So
it was slimy. I don't care what you say.
No, and I agree. I'm not saying that.
There's one thing. Listen, I like Tom Brady. I'm tired of fucking hearing about him, but I do like him. He's a great quarterback, and he's been a joy to watch the last 47 years, however long it's been.
22.
But and I can tell my kids one day I got to watch all of Tom Brady's career. You didn't, but I can always confidently say that the quarterback that I grew up watching retired a Giant. And he is beloved by every Giants fan loves him. I think he's almost borderline beloved by most NFL fans at this point, who are getting to learn who he is. I guess I don't know. Except for
he's pretty funny on that Monday Night Football thing, though.
He's hysterical. But I just
him and Peyton talking about Bill Belichick bugging the locker room like that. It was pretty funny.
Oh yeah, it's a known rumor. It's pretty common. But say what you want about Brady. I can never look at Gronk and say, he's a great tight end, and he is a great tight end. He's a great person, but that was slimy, and that was, and if I'm a Patriot fan, I could never support that. And I get it, I get it. Money talks volumes, and so but he fooled all of you. He tricked every single one of you. It wasn't about not wanting to play. They don't like Belichick. He's too hard on them. I'm sorry. You and I've had this talk before. I don't care. You're a professional athlete. Shut the fuck up and listen to your coach. He is the greatest coach of all time. If that man could say run to the moon, I'd be like, oh, it's kind of cold up there, but all right, Billy. He's the greatest coach of all time. Shut up. You wouldn't be anywhere if it wasn't for Bill Belichick.
Nope.
That goes with Tom Brady. Greatest quarterback of all time. Again, arguably greatest athlete of all time. And I will totally have that conversation, but he is nowhere without Bill Belichick.
It can be the same for reversed. I mean, if you look at Bill.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it was the perfect storm of combination. But
Bill would not.
But Tom Brady does not start if Bill Belichick doesn't believe in him. It has to. That is literally
it also helped that Drew Bledsoe got hurt at the end of that Jets game,
and Belichick put him in. Oh yeah, Belichick had him. Belichick believed in him enough to say, "I'm going to have this kid dress. I'm going to put you in if Bledsoe gets hurt." So
it goes both ways. Belichick was. I mean, if he didn't put Brady in, he was on the verge of getting fired. He started off that year 0-2, and more than likely,
which we just learned.
and 5-5 in the first 10. So I mean, and if they didn't come back and have a
great
good
defense
season,
that year, though,
it was a good defense. If they didn't come back,
remember where he came from?
Who?
Belichick.
Yeah, defensive mind.
Yeah, that's his thing. He's not a quarterback whisperer.
So
That's what I mean. It's a perfect storm, but without the faith that Belichick puts in Brady, Tom Brady is not a human being at this point. He's just somebody.
He's definitely one up on Bill Belichick. Because what?
How so?
Well, he has 7 Super Bowls.
Belichick has 8.
He has 8. He has 6 as a head coach. He has 8 he has 2 as an assistant coach.
8 total as a coach in the NFL. How many teams have you coached in the NFL?
I'm not
0
not going into this argument.
0.
I don't.
He has 8. We're not going about one upping one of the greatest coaches of all time. Bill Belichick doesn't play quarterback. 8.
No,
8 rings.
So
coaching at the highest level of football in the world.
Not the highest. 2 of them, he wasn't at the highest level of coaching. 2 of them, he was an assistant coach. So he was at the second highest level of coaching.
You are coaching in the NFL as a coordinator. You are as high as the football world gets. I don't care. Coordinators might as well be head coaches. They are in charge of that particular portion of the
team. So if I were to tell you that Matt Patricia, who was the defensive coordinator in 2014, has a quote that says, "I had one of the biggest plays in Super Bowl history," and claims it on his resume, would you say that that's a true fact?
The Malcolm Butler interception?
Yes.
I mean, he can claim it, but
because he claims it.
Anybody with half a fucking skull knows that Matt Patricia didn't say, "Hey, Malcolm, I want you to go ahead and cut this route." That's not everybody with half a skull knows that. Matt Patricia now, I am going to sit here and tell you that Matt Patricia has been defensive coordinator, and where is he now? Is he DCing again? I don't even know where he is anymore.
No, he's like back office player relations for the Patriots.
Oh, good for him. An even better gig. Like, the man was a defensive coordinator for several successful teams. That is as high as it gets for a defensive coordinator. You were in charge of the defense that made it to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl. Now, again, that one play, you didn't say, "Hey, Malcolm, I want you to cut this route."
He claims, he's quoted as saying, I have one of the it was like the greatest plays in defensive Super Bowl history.
He called the play, but he didn't go out there and play it.
But he probably didn't even call the play either. He probably didn't say, hey, they're going to run this route. You want to make sure you step in front of him.
He called the defensive play. That's what he does. Because Belichick doesn't call any plays.
I think that's more on Malcolm Butler than it is on. And his
play is, yes, players play, coaches coach. But it's that, I forgot who said it. It was an old Giant or an old Cardinal or both. I forgot. But he said players got to play. But either way, like I said, Matt Patricia, not one of the best defensive coordinators of all time by any means, but a several time Super Bowl champion winning defensive coordinator.
But
puts him among some of the best, considering I know he had Bill Belichick as well, but like either way.
Because you said it right there. Like, Matt Patricia is not one of the best defensive coordinators of all time, and I agree with that, because whose scheme are we going to really put up in those Super Bowl championship eras of the New England Patriots? Was it Matt Patricia's scheme, or was it, like you said, defensive came from Bill Belichick's?
I think we can both agree that, considering that it's Belichick's team, that it's a mutual agreement.
When then Matt Patricia
would never have been allowed to run a scheme that Belichick didn't approve if Belichick's the head coach.
When then Matt Patricia left New England to become the head coach and have a defensive minded team in the Detroit Lions. And I mean, where did that end?
Players got to play.
Okay. You're just one of those then.
No, I'm not. Players got to play. Player has to play. Matt Patricia doesn't go out there and play defense. That's why him claiming that play is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't go out there and play, but a player has to play. Players got to play. Malcolm Butler was a player who's got to play, and he made a play. And that was one of the greatest plays in Super Bowl history. I don't care what anybody says. Because the balls it takes to cut in front of that on the goal line in the Super Bowl, someone get that kid a back brace. Like,
so
anyway, I don't want to hear about Tom Brady anymore.
We're 8 days away from them being, and I don't know if you've seen this yet, but the Patriots are going to do something, obviously, because it's going to be Brady's last
Oh yeah, and they should.
game.
Like I said, he abandoned you, but they should totally do something for him.
I'm fairly
20-something years of great memories
on TV on NBC. It's going to be the Tom Brady show. That's all it's going to be. But in the stadium, I have an inkling feeling that they're going to play this video that they're going to make before the game, not during the game. So they're not celebrating the opponent. The other thing is that Tom Brady is 499 yards away from the all-time passing record, which by my math, a quarterback normally doesn't throw 500 yards in one game.
We all know when he's going to break that record.
So he's more than likely going to break it.
And it's almost like the schedule makers knew too. They were
So
you know who else knows? Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So I would not be Andrew. He strikes me as a petty fellow. I would not be surprised if he threw for 497 yards and then takes himself out of the game just to go to New England the next week and throw 4 yards.
When Drew Brees broke the record last season, they were at the Superdome and they stopped the whole game and they did like a little celebration thing, congratulations, whatever. Does New England do a similar thing for an opposing player?
I'm going to say the stadium, and like considering it's at Gillette, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to say no, but will the fans? Yeah, absolutely.
So they might put it up on the billboard or on the big screen.
They will. That's a big record. They'll announce that. They will. Away team or not, they'll announce
going to start the game for it.
I don't think they should.
I think Kraft wants to.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure Belichick is going to say going to shut that shit down quick.
F you,
So
I don't think they should, considering he may have whatever the record is. If the record is 40,000, I know it's more than that, but the record is 40,000 yards, and I don't care if he got 39,000 of them with New England. Like he's not a Patriot anymore. So no, I don't think you should shut down the game. But will the fans more or less kind of force that? They might. I can see that happening. The fans will be an absolute, because they're going to announce it. They will, and they should. It's a big record.
What's your percentage of cheers to booze in 2 weeks or in a week and a half now?
More cheers.
Well, it was like 70-30.
Yeah.
I think 70-30, 60-40, something like that. It's definitely going to be more, but I think there's a lot of people who are like resentful
now
of everything.
Again, I don't resent him. I just think that there was.
Well, you're not a Patriots fan.
I think there was just a couple people who couldn't get over themselves and couldn't get it done. But like,
there's a lot of Bill Belichick. They call them on this Boston Sports Radio Bill Belichick Bobos out there, which are
I don't know.
They take Bill's side rather than.
I think you guys are turning on the coach who got you to where you are. Anyway, yeah, I think Brady will get more cheers. But when Gronk comes out, I think he'll get. I think like an 80-20 boos.
Oh, that high, huh?
Yeah, I think Gronk's appearance in New England is much lower than it used to be because of that retirement. And then I'll come out and then, that. But Brady, like anybody who truly knows football and watches it, like knows it's Brady left. One, for the money, which is fine and is fair. I get it. You got a family. And two, he didn't like Belichick. And again, you're professional, shut up and play. But like at the same, and I'm not going to sit here and say Belichick's not at fault either. But I think Brady's reason for leaving is much more accepted across New England than Gronk's. And the same thing if Edelman had pulled that crap too.
Do you know what's really funny about this week and what the Patriots are? I don't know if you've seen what the Patriots are doing this week, but do you know what the Patriots are doing this week and not next week? The Patriots are honoring Julian Edelman at halftime.
Yeah, but that would be awkward to do it next week. To do it next week, that'd be awkward as hell. You can't do that next week. It's an awkward season. It's like an awkward breakup, and you still see them in the hallway at school. Yeah, like it's awkward.
So, I just thought that was kind of funny that they're doing it this week and not when
I-
Brady comes to town next week. And
I mean-
I think that would be much more petty for them to do it next week, in front of Brady and in front of Gronk.
But
and in
Edelman,
front of
Edelman, I give props to. The Patriots gave him everything that he was, and he said, "No, I'm not going anywhere else."
I'm interested to see what happens after the game.
I do love though when teams do petty shit like that though. Like the Giants are retiring Michael Strahan's number against the Eagles, and they're gonna lose that fucking game. But but man, Michael Strahan terrorized the Eagles for like 10 years. So I love that shit.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, that's a good recap of the first 2 weeks, I guess. We know who the 2-0 teams are, and we know who the 0-2 teams are. Everyone in the middle. It's early in the season. Do you want to pick them or no?
yeah, you'll have to read them to me. I can't see them.
That's fine. Let's see. Oh, and okay, so there's one more thing I have to bring up, and I just saw it when I clicked on the news. Did you see what happened to Carson Wentz this week? This past weekend?
He hurt again, didn't he?
He sprained both of his ankles on the same play. I didn't know.
What's going on?
It's really funny. It's really funny. Every time I bring up a Carson Wentz story, you have no idea what it is. Because
I can always assume what it's about. Like,
but it's funny because it's so out of left field that you're just like, what?
Both ankles? How do you sprain both ankles?
Sprained both ankles on the same play. I'm pretty sure that's.
How do you even do that? Because isn't spraining an ankle require you to? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. To surprise everybody, but
let's see.
I am made of questions.
Let's see. I want something that's a little older, news-wise. Let's see. Key injuries. Here you go. Let's see. Colts. Wentz, who missed most of the summer rehabbing from ankle surgery, suffered a separate ankle injury late against the Rams, leaving the fourth quarter. Frank Reich said he rolled it pretty bad and we're going to go further tests. So maybe it's not both ankles.
Josh Gordon's coming back for
I just saw that. Yeah, Josh Gordon will be reinstated and he'll be able to play week 4.
Oh my God! So on Bleacher Report, if you go to NFL Rumors, it says Carson Wentz practiced today, and it said Colts quarterback in parentheses ankles. Participating in practice.
Yeah, because it's. So I guess
I've never seen ankles as like the reason. I've always seen ankle.
Maybe he didn't hurt them both, but he had surgery on one and he rolled the other, so it's both
ankles
at the moment. It's ankles.
He's just walking around with bow-legged, just like trying not to hurt himself.
Oh, can't reach. Hang on.
Poor Carson. The man takes a beating.
I'm going to use one of my school books, so I'll have to go buy another one, but it'll be fine.
Use one of your school books?
Yeah, I bought notepads.
Oh, okay, never mind. Look at you, college. Just keep your grades at room temperature, guy. That's all you need to do.
That was so funny when you said that. I got a kick out of that.
I mean, that's passing.
It's a good. It made me think a little too. So that's it's funny. So
yeah. See, that's that teacher mind I'm throwing at you. Just keep the room temperature, kids.
You don't tell them that, do you?
I just, dude, at my school, in our district, a 70 is a D.
Which is passing, I guess.
Barely, I guess. But they were like, I got a 70, I failed. I'm like, no, you didn't. You got like a C. Like, no, it's a D. And I'm like, that is the most harsh. Like,
that's what my grades were. Like, if I got a 70, I passed the class when I was in high school. That must be just New Hampshire thing.
Maybe. In Connecticut, like we're apparently we use letters, accurately. A 70 is a C. Like a C minus. It's not like a great C, but like.
Yeah. Well, you got 90 to 100 is an A.
Yeah. Now, so I gave a kid a 90 and he was like, can I retake it? I'm like, why? It's a B plus. I need an A. And I'm like, B, it's a 90. Nope. He wasn't kidding. Oh. B plus.
Did you give him an A?
No, I told him, no, you take the 90. Trust me, because if you retake it, you'll get a 40, and then you have to keep the 40. Because my room policy, if you retake it, you keep the second grade. I don't average them together. You keep the second grade. So,
all right. So 1:00 games this week on CBS. We've got Baltimore at Detroit.
Baltimore.
I'm also going to take Baltimore. Indianapolis at Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Especially
if Derrick Henry does that crap again.
Yeah, I'm also taking Tennessee. I kind of want to mix it up.
The best part is I was watching that game with my grandpa like through FaceTime, and he was talking shit about Derrick Henry. He's like, "What the hell is up with this guy?" And then he started breaking off, and he's like, "Oh, there he is."
He had 5 yards in the first half.
Yeah, I know. He was talking shit, and then he broke off a big one, and he was like, "Oh, there he is."
He finished with like 160 yards and 3 touchdowns.
It's like playing Madden. You forgot you had Derrick Henry. You're like, "Oh shit, I got Derrick Henry." Better use him.
Also on CBS, you have Los Angeles Chargers at Kansas City Chiefs. I'm taking the Chiefs.
Oh yeah, Chiefs. I like the Chargers though. They're a good team. I like Justin Herbert.
New Orleans. Oh no, I'm sorry. On CBS, you have Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. Taking Pittsburgh. I think I'm going to change it up next week because I'm fairly confident we're going to like continue to have the same pick.
Yeah, maybe.
That's it for the CBS game. So on Fox, you have Washington at Buffalo. I'm taking Buffalo.
Buffalo's good too.
Chicago at Cleveland. Taking Cleveland.
Yeah, tie.
New Orleans at New England.
New England.
Taking New Orleans.
There we go. Finally.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Atlanta at the Giants. I'm taking Atlanta.
I'm just going to speak it into existence, the Giants.
And then you have
the
final 1:00 game on Fox is Arizona at Jacksonville.
What's Jacksonville right now? 0-2.
0-2.
Arizona.
Taking Arizona. The 4:00 games on CBS, we have New York Jets at Denver. Denver is gonna be 3-0 since the first time since 2016. Then we have Miami at Las Vegas Raiders.
It's a good game. That could be a good game. I'm gonna go with Las Vegas though. Yeah.
The Fox games at 4:25 is Tampa Bay at Los Angeles Rams.
Tampa.
Taking Tampa. And then Seattle at Minnesota. Taking Seattle.
How'd they been looking lately? I haven't watched any Seattle games.
They're 1-1. They got killed by Derrick Henry last week.
Oh, they were that team. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Minnesota. Just to be different.
Was that week? Yeah, it was that week.
I hope so. I made my pick already.
And then Sunday Night Football, Green Bay is at San Francisco. Taking Green Bay.
Yeah, I'll take Green Bay too.
And Monday Night Football is Philadelphia at Dallas. Also taking Dallas.
Go through.
So we differ on 3 different.
You could very easily go 0-3 here. I could very easily go 0-3 here.
Yeah, we differ on three areas. So it's basically going to come down to who gets the 1 out of the 3 or the 2 out of the 3, or who we differed on an odd number. So one of us is going to come out on top. We didn't do this a lot in the first 2 weeks of the season, even though we didn't do the podcast. So this will just be week 1 for us.
Yeah. Just assume that we were perfect.
Assume that we went 16 for 16.
Yeah.
In both weeks.
Perfect.
I might change it up next week. I don't know how you feel about adding the spreads into it.
I don't understand the spread stuff. Don't throw math at me. I'm a history.
It's not that hard.
Don't throw math at me.
So
I do enough thinking during the day.
It's not that hard. So
the fact that you need to say it's not that hard insinuates that it is hard. It's just not that hard.
So let's see. So the first game that just popped up, Cardinals are at the Jaguars, and the Cardinals are giving 7.5 points, which means the Cardinals need to win by 8, or the Jaguars need to lose by less than 7.
You lost me.
It's not that hard.
You already lost me.
It's easier when it's like lower numbers. So like the Bengals at Steelers, it's -3. So the Steelers are giving 3. So the Steelers need to win by at least 4 for you to win that matchup. Or the Bengals need to lose
here's another
by
idea.
2.
Here's another idea that could be very controversial. You could just shut the fuck up and do what we're doing.
We have similar taste in what teams are gonna win.
Yeah, and we've already decided if we need a tiebreaker, we do the Monday Night Football score. Last year. It's worked every year since.
Oh, right. I forgot we did that last year.
Yeah, but we didn't tie this week. We had 3, right?
No, yeah, we had 3. So cool. So play along if you'd like. I have a feeling it's going to come down
to bestbuy.com and try and find a new laptop.
I have a feeling it's going to come down to that Seattle Minnesota game. I think the 1:00 games will split.
You think we'll split them?
I think so. You never know. Maybe New England will pull out a victory.
I think the best is remember last year. Anytime I picked a team just to be different, like fuck it, I'll pick this. Can you pick the other team? I'll just see what happens. And like the team that I picked would get just demolished. Like I would check the score, like, I wonder how they did. Oh, 40-2, got it. Yeah, you got a safety. Cool, that's cool. Yeah. So I forgot what team it was. It was years ago, but I remember I turned it on and it was like the score was 2-0. And I was like, it was early in this game. It was like the first quarter. I was like, oh shit, that's how this game is going to go. That team scored a field goal and that was it. The score was like 5-28. And I was like, hell? I
think, 5-20, 28. I thought you were going to say 5-0. And I'm like, that's actually the lowest score in NFL history. I think is 5-0.
No, it was the other team just like was like, oh, we're playing football. And then just decided to play football. And the team just forgot.
That game is, I saw it on YouTube when I was watching video. I don't remember why it was on the video, but it was the mud game, the mud bowl. I think it was like Miami and Pittsburgh where like the punter punted the ball up in the air. And when it landed, it stuck straight down into the mud. It didn't bounce. Yeah, that game ended 5-0. I think it was Pittsburgh that won that game. So, I'm going to do a little plug. If any of you have been paying attention to the Sports and Nonsense audio page, I started a different segment that's like 20, 25, 30 minutes at most long. It's basically just 2 guys talking about movies. It's called a filmmaker's basement. I don't remember what we called it. So this was your idea. Don't get pissy.
I know. My guy gets ads on YouTube now, so he's too busy. I have to get him. He's also an hour behind time zone wise, so it's hard to make it work.
Well, he's also got a little one, so
a new person. So
you'll get that going. Rich is gonna do like a little gaming segment. I'll set up whenever you have it set up. Just let me know. I'll set up a Google Drive file.
I'll probably have to get a new computer because this is no way this thing can handle that. So.
Okay. Whatever. And then so check out the Filmmaker's Basement. We talk about like I go and see a new movie. We both go and see a new movie every week. I bought an AMC Stubs membership to go do this. So I get to go see movies for free, but not really because I pay $25 a month. But it's like 3 movies a week. It's a pretty good deal. It's like Movie Pass, but like I can only go.
Was the deal, man.
That was $10 a month, man. $10 a month.
I don't know how that was ever going to be profitable.
Even when it was like on the downturn, when like you could only see certain movies at certain times, it was still a good deal. Like
you could only see this movie between the hours of 2 and 3. Okay,
yeah. Okay, I'll go right now.
and they're just like, please stop.
So AMC
they grossly underestimated how lazy Americans are.
You can go see 3. I guess they're not thinking that people are going to go see 3 movies a week, which I'm not. I'm only going to see like 1 a week. But I mean,
still,
for $25 a month, that's not a bad deal. When you're paying $16 for 1 ticket, so I can basically get 2 movies for free whenever I go to the movies. And the movies are there's big movies coming up. I don't know if you're going to go see any movies coming up this winter, but you should go see them so we can talk about them on our nonsense portion.
Oh, hey, I have one thing to just say before we leave that's going to upset a lot of our older viewers, including you and I. But the PS2 was released 21 years ago. So good night.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.